Oh, thank you, Kristen. You're the best. Thank you. Thank you. I need to invite Missy to come on with me. So I was saying what date it was, that it's Friday the 13th. Nothing super important, but I'm glad y'all can hear me now. I did invite Missy to be a co-host. Missy, is it working? Can you guys hear me now? Are we still?
Yay!
Can you hear me?
I can.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like everyone's still just said, okay, thank you, Heather. Like somebody say something different. Apparently I come on muted, so that's really good. Great. That's really okay. English is hard today. We'll just all lay that out on the table. Okay. Missy and I are talking about today our program. And I know that I've shared a little background. I'm going to share it again because I keep getting questions of people saying, what's this new program? What are the beta testers going to do? What is that? And I'm like, let me clear this up. As many times as it takes, by the way, if you still have questions, please ask them in the chat. Send a message, tag me in circle, whatever you need to do. I'm still very much alive on Facebook. Tag me on Facebook, send me a message, talk to Missy, talk to Heather Shoemaker, talk to Megan Heward. So what we discovered when we started the Elevated Mother program is that a lot of our ideal clients are moms. Whoa, imagine that with the name of Elevated Mother. And a lot of our clients find themselves in a stuck place. Either they feel stuck about finances, they feel stuck about their relationships, kids, marriage, mom-in-law, whatever, something's going on that they're like, I don't know what to do with this, but I hate that it's continuing in my life. They're struggling personally, faith issues, health issues, things that just seem like no matter what they do, it just stays there. And they're like, how come I invest in this, I work on this, but the next year, I don't feel like I've made progress. I don't feel like I'm progressing. And we found that our Elevated Mother experience fantastically helps women to move out of that. But what we saw was that we had these subgroups. We had a subgroup of really these women that had it within them in their dreams of either entrepreneurship, full-time work. And what they found was that the mindset around how do I work, how do I be an entrepreneur and be a mom? Can you do that? There's a lot of mom guilt we discovered in this subgroup. A lot of mom guilt about how they were thinking about work and their contribution and that deep passion they had mixed with, well, if I'm a mom, am I leaving my kids out to dry by following my dream? Am I disrespecting my husband by following my dream? There was a whole thing there. So we launched Elevated Mother Business as a beta program in the spring of this year. We talked about that. What if we did business in a different way? And a lot of that was mindset, and it was fabulous. And we had great success in that. Then we also had a subgroup of moms that really feel like their home environment holds them back. It's very stressful for them. They struggle a lot with feeling safe in their homes, safe in their marriages, safe with their children. Am I the best mom for my kids? Do they deserve something different? Tell me in the chat if this is you. Be honest, this is the safest space you'll ever be in your life. We admit this kind of stuff. We talk about this in the Elevated Mother space, that there have been times where we wanted to just go dig a hole and live in there, and that our family would be better without us sometimes. That's the reality that most mothers face that we don't like to talk about, especially as Christians, right? That we were born to be mothers, and yet it is the hardest thing for us. Why? It's supposed to be natural. It's supposed to fulfill our dreams. And yet so many mothers were saying, I'm experiencing this and it feels so wrong, but I don't know what else to do. And we said, okay, we need to do another sub-program called the Elevated Mother Home. But when we launch a program in EMX, we like to do a beta group. We like to test it. We like to see, okay, what's the feedback we're getting from these women? Is this the most helpful content that we've put together? Because we have been in this work for a while. So someone that's coming into a beta program, we're very aware that what we might think is so helpful might not be. We have no ego around here. We have no ego around here. So if we do these beta programs, we get really good feedback from you beautiful, amazing moms. And you say, this actually, I didn't love that. I'd like more of this. And we hear that from multiple people. We heard that in EMB, Elevated Mother Business. So we're calling this EMH, Elevated Mother Home, we really need beta testers. We really need you to do this if this is you. If you're feeling overwhelmed in your home, I have clutter everywhere. I've got laundry everywhere. And you're feeling less than, this program is for you. This program is for you. If you feel less than as a mother, this program is for you. And for being a beta tester, we're letting you come in at 50% of the investment that it will be when we launch the program in full. Because we know that you're a guinea pig for us. We get it. But we still believe in energetic exchange with money because it changes the experience. We've seen that. We've done freebies and they're fun, but they never elicit a true transformation, ever. They never do. The direct exchange is very important for the transformation piece. And we will talk about money in EMH. We will talk about your money mindset because that is a key piece we've seen in this subgroup. So that's what EMH is. That's what our beta testers will be doing. They'll be going through this program, giving us feedback, giving us a testimony. We're going to work closely with you because we want a testimonial, because that is what's going to help us to position this program well for other mothers to come in and be served. So if you're interested in being a beta tester for this program, you want to talk details, put it down in the chat. And Missy and I, for the next little bit, are going to talk about our experiences with some of the principles we're going to teach and what it did for our homes. And I want to invite those of you that are here on live to use the chat. Please use the chat. If you have questions, comments, similar experiences, you're relating, put it in there, right? Put it in there. Missy, anything you want to add, talk about before we kind of just ask each other questions? Guys, this is unscripted. Totally, like we don't have some amazing framework we're following.
Nothing that I want to add. But I'm laughing. I'm gonna share like what's literally happening in real time in my life at this moment. And how it's different from how I used to feel. I was stuck in this feeling of chaos all the time inside myself. Like I used to tell my husband, I'm like, I feel like I'm a walking heart attack. Like I just felt like I couldn't get my arms around my life all the time. And I have 6 kids. So it's like, duh, you have 6 kids. Of course it's going to feel like that. So I sort of developed this belief that like, oh, well, I have a lot of kids. Of course I'm just going to feel like a stressed out, like life was crushing me all the time. And I literally accepted that belief. So this morning, okay, my 2 youngest kids have late start. And I was like, oh crap, like my husband's out of town. And of course we had some, parenting struggles yesterday with a teen, with my 6-year-old getting his feelings hurt at school. So I'm like, it was a lot. Like emotionally yesterday, everyone kind of had an exhausting day. So in the past, I would have carried that, like held onto it so deeply, like been so worried. Like I literally lived in worry. And so then there's this morning where I'm like, literally, I could have carried the teenage problem, the hurt feeling 6-year-old problem into today, but I just didn't. And so this morning I gathered my 6-year-old up and hit my arms and said, what do we believe about ourselves when someone says something unkind at school? And I prayed with him and then I just was like, okay, I'm releasing that to God today. Like I'm centered, like my body feels calm. I had a loving exchange with my teenager who was frustrated with me yesterday, and I sent him out the door. And now it's late start and my kids are still downstairs and I'm like, oh, the bus comes in 35 minutes. And I literally, like, it could have felt really stressful this morning because I'm like, I got to get myself ready. I got to get my kids ready. I got to get my, I have an older daughter who's home from college. So I asked her to come and sit with my kids and get them on the bus so that I can be here with you. So like my life hasn't stopped being hard or complicated. It's just that I am a different person. I'm a different person. I don't feel like I'm going to explode all the time anymore. I don't feel worry anymore. And that's what we're doing in this program, is like getting you out of that cycle of feeling exhausted because you're feeling stuck. Oh, we lost Robyn. And helping you understand that you are not powerless. You are not powerless. We become, and we don't, right? Like, I love that Robyn was, can you guys still hear me? Somebody write in the chat that my video is good. I felt like exactly like Robyn said. I was like, I should feel happy and grateful and excited to wake up every day and get up and be the mom of these 6 kids that I wanted. I should feel connected to my husband who I adore, right? I should feel like, you get married and you're like, I'm married. Like, it should feel so great. I should be able to ask my husband whatever I need, and we should be able to communicate through hard things. And when it just wasn't that way, and I woke up every day feeling crushing anxiety, like, I don't even want to get out of bed and be the mom today. I can't even tell you how many times I said that phrase to my husband. I was like, I don't want to be the mom today. It felt so big and so overwhelming. And frankly, most people would step into my life with 6 kids and be like, yeah, this is big and overwhelming. But like, it's what God gave me. It's what I prayed for. It's what I deeply wanted. And I was so, and then I had become a victim to it. I had become a martyr for my family. And if you didn't watch last week, I encourage you to go watch the replay. But Heather and Megan both, who are helping coach this program, talked about last week how they had done other things to help them try to get out of this cycle of overwhelm. And Megan and Heather had both, they'd been on health journeys. They'd been to therapy. They'd done all these other things because they're like, I have my life. Like, I did what God said. I had the babies. I got married. I have what I want, but I don't want it. And I don't feel connected to it. Right. And so they tried all these other things. They changed their health. They went to therapy. They did other things, and it wasn't enough. They still fell into cycles. And this is the same thing that happened to me. When I came to Robyn, I mean, Robyn's going to laugh because this was me. Like, I was like, I don't know why, but I am stuck. Like, I was so stuck and I couldn't get out. And what I felt was hopelessness. So every woman on this call today is a woman of faith. I know that about you. I know you believe in God. I know you believe in Jesus Christ. And I know you sometimes, we call this spiritualizing it. Okay. So, or we spiritually bypass, right? So we have these feelings of doubt about ourselves. We have this overwhelm, and then we use our faith as a weapon against ourselves. Actually, we spiritually bypass what's going on inside our minds and our hearts by saying, oh, well, I shouldn't feel this way because I believe in God, because I believe in motherhood, because I believe in this so deeply. And then what does that actually produce? Shame. It produces shame, fear, and hopelessness. So you just go around, you have a struggling day with your kids, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, but I'm a woman of faith. And so you pull your faith out and you're using it, but you're not actually getting to the underneath part. So you end up using your faith as a weapon against yourself. And so I'm like, okay. So I came to Robyn and I'm like, I'm stuck. I don't know how I don't even see it. I couldn't figure it out. I had tried everything. I had done exercise, nutrition. I mean, if you follow me on social media, go look through 10 years of my feed, right? I was like the upbeat fit mom. Like that's what I was. And there were periods of my life where that was enough. It was enough to pull me up and help me love motherhood. But guess what, guys? Life has hard circumstances. I lost my best friend from childhood to cancer, and it like leveled me. It just wrecked me in a way that I had never been wrecked before. And then, I had struggles in my marriage. My husband came in with a lot of trauma from his childhood. And I was like, well, I didn't sign up for that, right? Like, and so these things hit you out of nowhere, and it's life. This is just life. And then you doubt yourself as a mother. You're like, oh, I must be wrong. I should be able to do this. But some things that I realized about being a wife, especially, is that nobody actually taught me how to be a woman. Nobody actually taught me what I believed deeply about my own body and myself. And I had created all these stories in my head. And because I was a woman of faith, the guilt and the shame and the fear and the worry that I was not enough was literally drowning me in my own life. I was drowning in anxiety. And I've been pretty open about my anxiety for years on social media. And I've literally had anxiety since I was a child. And I will tell you that I wake up without anxiety. And like, this is not medical advice, but I want to tell you that I have really come to believe that so much of our struggle is because as women of faith, we are literally using our faith against ourselves. And we've picked up this belief that we're not enough. And so, and then we're doing elevated home because, we sing the song at church, right? If you guys know the song, home can be heaven on earth, like, and we use it against ourselves. And we're like, well, home's supposed to be a heaven on earth. And I don't want anybody to come to my house. We don't want anybody actually to know that we don't want to get out of bed and be the mom today. Like that we're so overwhelmed. And then, like every single woman I've seen come into our space is like, they feel overwhelmed. They feel anxious, depressed, hopeless, but they want so badly to be that woman of faith that they don't allow themselves to actually look at it enough to heal. And so they have the home, they're in the home, but they're like, I know it's supposed to be heaven. And so then they just judge themselves for that because they don't feel that way. So what we're doing here is we're going to get you to look at it, and we're going to hold you in the container of safety of a group of women who, one, has been there, who is there with you. Like, we're not just going to look down our noses and be like, yeah, you got to fix this. We're like, no, this is something you like. It becomes how you eat, sleep, breathe, and believe. It is not something that we still aren't doing, right? We are in this. And this is what's so beautiful about the elevated mother space is that it's a new way to breathe your life. It's a new way of being in your home. And everything, I mean, I say this all the time, but you heal the mom, you heal yourself, you heal everything around you. So if it's your marriage, like if you're like, I don't like my husband today or last week, or it's been years since I felt connected to my spouse, we fight, whatever. That, that was my story. I was like, why am I like, I didn't feel it. Like, it was fine. We had struggles, but I didn't feel it. And guys, it was me. Like, and so when I started to heal myself, not all of a sudden, It's a process. But it is true. There is no working on your marriage. There is only working on you. There is no working on your kids. There is only working on you. And that you can want to throw a tantrum about this. And if you want to throw a tantrum and throw your anger around, because you might feel angry when I say this, you send me a voice message on Facebook and you can yell at me. I can hold it. I will hold your anger. Ready? You have the power to change it all. It starts with you. And so many women, they're so mad about that. They want to throw a tantrum and they want to scream and yell because they're like, that feels heavy for me. And that was me. I was like, I don't want that responsibility. That's too much. Too much. No, thank you. Take it, Jesus. I don't want it. Jesus can fix my life. It can feel scary and heavy at first. So you got to get through the feelings that come up with that. So if you're sitting on this call and you're like, Missy tells me I get to fix my marriage and I get to fix my home and I get to fix my relationship with my children, it starts with me. It's okay. You can be mad. You can feel overwhelmed at that. It's okay. And Robyn can take it because she took it from me, right? I was like, but I don't want to. I want my husband to have to do the work. All right. I want my kids to have to listen and I want my kids to have to change. I get it. It's hard to be in the space where you're like, oh, but once you can have your tantrum, okay. And it is important. Okay. It is important to throw your tantrum. Okay. Because that's anger that you've probably just swallowed your whole life. And we're like, get it out. Just call me and give me all your words. Okay. It's fine. That's what coaching's for. But on the other side of that tantrum, where you're like, I don't want to be the one, I'm going to hold your little face and I'm going to say, you are the one. And not just you are the one, but you are the only one. Right? The straight and narrow path you walk with Jesus is your own. No one going to do it for you. Okay. And so it's infuriating that we are the ones to change our marriage, right? Because we're like, no, he needs to do it. He needs to pick up his socks and wipe his whiskers off the sink and make the bed, right? And we want so badly to believe it's someone else's fault. But the truth is on the flip side of this, you are Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. You have had the power all along. Right? So all we're doing in this program is helping you see clearly your patterns, holding you through your tantrum if you need to release some stuff, which you will, which is healthy, which you've probably been told that's not healthy, but you get to throw tantrums here. And then we get to say, what do you want your home to look like? And we get to tell you this is actually possible for you. And you have the power to have a magical connected marriage. And if you've had hard marriage struggles, I have had hard marriage struggles. Every one of the coaches in this program has had hard marriage struggles. I can look you in the face and tell you from personal experience that you can have a magical, connected, passionate, amazing marriage, and that's your birthright. And that you can be pissed off that I'm going to tell you this, and you can want it to be your husband that does it, but you have the power to do it. Same goes with your kids. If you're like, nope, my kids are they don't listen, they don't do anything I want, my house is just destined to be a mess and chaos, and this is just how it is. You have the power. That's what this program is us bringing you. We might have to drag you back by your ankles, kicking and screaming, but we're going to do it. and we will allow it. We will just say, it's okay. Lay on your floor, have your tantrum. It's okay. But we will not leave you until you believe at the end of this program that you have the power. And through this program, I mean, everywhere in the Elevated Mother, we celebrate wins. But I'm going to tell you, when I started to learn these skills, especially what I'm going to teach, that's my piece in your marriage, I felt like someone waved a magic wand over my spouse. And I was like, what is happening? And I'm like, he's the same person I married. Like, but this is not the same. And guess whose power it was all along? My own. And then you might have some stuff that comes up there. You're like, well, geez, why didn't I learn this sooner? And then be mad at yourself. But guess what? It's okay, because welcome to life. And my favorite quote about marriage, or idea about marriage, is that marriage is a people maker. Marriage was not meant to be this like badge of honor that you get to wear that looks easy and perfect. It makes you a good person. It teaches you how to love. But there are a lot of things you can learn that you can do that will help you believe that you have the power to create the marriage you always wanted inside of your home. All right. I could talk forever, Robyn, so take it away.
Well, what I love is this energy between you and I, between the team and our awesome clients. People that have worked with us are singing our praises in the chat, and we're not surprised. I'm not even going to say that different. We're not surprised. This program, inspired by God, put down by mothers for mothers, works, if you want to say. It's like a framework. It is a framework that works with the minds of women that have it within them. Not everybody on the planet Earth is going to come in and do EMX. This is specifically an EMH, specifically for the woman that is feeling these kinds of things. She's got spiritual gifts of contribution and productivity and these different things. Not everybody has that. A woman that has high standards for herself, high excellence in her realm, and ideas of contributing and just these things. She's the woman that also tends to have children that have big emotions and big dreams and big ideas. And I'll share with you that if you're loving this energy, just know this is the essence of the Elevated Mother space, where we talk about the hard things in a container of love and relatability. And it's just fun. You come to our retreats, and 1 minute we're all crying and talking about hard things, and the next minute we're running off to a water park and we're jiggling our cellulite in full authenticity and love. Like, this is the space you guys get to be part of. It's pretty great. It's just awesome. And if you're a woman that has these high standards, chances are, as Missy beautifully, illustrated with her experience, something like this will often, if this is your mindset, you can be honest with us. You're like, what? You're going to add something to my plate? How dare you? What? Not only am I spinning all these plates, but now you're telling me it's my responsibility to spin all of them. We want you to know that we get it. We have full empathy. We know. But that's why this program is so essential. That's why EMH is coming into the world right now. Completely inspired. Because there's women that are doing a whole bunch of things about these plates. And the thing that we're going to help you see is how you're thinking about the plates. I will never forget when I was sitting in a park one day and I was going through my first mindset transformation, if you will. And I saw this mother, and she had these little kids on a park blanket, and she had gotten McDonald's, and they were eating these Happy Meals. And I was over here, and anyway, I was observing this mother, and a child spilled. He was trying to do something with the lid. He spilled the orange soda all over. Has anyone want to talk about these kinds of experiences? You're like, you had this great romantic image. I'm going to take my kids to the park. It's going to be so great. harming your children because you brought grapes. And they're spilling their orange soda all over everything. And you're like, why did I think this was going to be great? And you go back home and you're like, see, this is why we don't do anything. But I was watching this mom, and she was very disturbed. She was very upset. She had a very emotional experience with this experience, and her child was just in tears. And I was sitting here watching this, and I noticed this older woman kind of sitting a farther away on a picnic table by herself. And she was also watching this scenario. And I've since done a lot of observation in playlands at Arctic Circle, Universal Studios, Disneyland, and I'll just kind of, what I'm illustrating here is parallel realities where multiple people see the same event, and yet they're taking something completely different. This older woman I watched, she was watching this woman and she was cleaning up. And this poor woman doesn't even know that she was a life-changing, real-life analogy for all of us at the park that day. I send out lots of gratitude for this woman. And this older woman was just smiling with the most nostalgic, loving, she was almost glowing watching this scenario. She was just sitting there with just like, and I was perceptive, as I am. It's a skill of mine. I'm a really perceptive person. And I thought, that woman is having an experience thinking of when her kids were little. And I get emotional. But this was a big life-changing moment for me when I was like, here I am just simply observing because I was observing. And here's this woman, and she was having a deeply moving emotional experience. And then there was other people that wouldn't even look at the mom because they're like, oh, that's so awkward. We shouldn't even look. You know, it was just so interesting to me to be like, I'm in charge of this. I'm in charge of how I think about anything. That wasn't something that my parents taught. That wasn't something that I really took in until that moment when it became aware to me. And so I can tell you that how you think about your home, this was a story I learned, this is a story, a lesson. How I thought about my laundry was only mine. This is what Missy's talking about. It starts with us, because how my kids tie their shoes in the morning and get out the door, like, I'm the only one writing the story of the event. I'm the only one. My husband is not writing it like I am. In fact, he's probably not writing a story at all. You know? And the bus driver is not writing a story about how my kid is running to the bus every day. The teacher is not writing a story about how my daughter does her hair by herself every day, and she gave herself a haircut, by the way. She has a short spot here and a short spot right there, and it sticks up every day, and she determines that she's doing her own hair every day. You guys, if you see the little girl with the alfalfa spout and he has long hair, that's my kid. But I've learned that I don't tell the story that anyone else is thinking anything about her except, oh, look at her. She's gaining her autonomy over her appearance. I tell the story that they think, oh, what an amazing mom to just let her do that. That's the story I tell. Where 10 years ago, I probably would have made her cut her hair. Like, I would have thought so many people are going to think about this and think she comes from the homeless shelter or something. I was taking that on. These are the kinds of things we're going to be talking about in EMH. Things like mirror triggers, where I was thinking about my child from my story. I was thinking about the laundry from my story. And thereby, when the whole family walks through, my laundry room is right between the garage door and the kitchen. So everyone walks through the laundry every day. And I could tell the story that, look at this. My family has to walk through this laundry. This is the worst spot for laundry. I hate laundry. But I stopped because I realized that was a stressful story for me. I was the only one telling it. My kids were not walking through the laundry room being like, my mom sucks because there's socks on the floor right here. My mom or my husband walking in from work from the garage. My wife has her life so messed up, she can't keep this laundry under control. That was a fictional story I was telling, and I started going, why am I telling the bad stories? In fact, I'm actually really good at laundry. Like, I'm awesome. And so I started being like, you know what? All they do is look and say, wow, mom switched the laundry today. I'm so grateful. My mom's the best. Right? But that started when I started going, I am the mom for the job. I'm not broken. In fact, who even told me a story that I was broken? And I started understanding, ladies, that Satan, the evil in this world, works on that. When I got with Jesus and I started saying, what does Jesus think about my laundry? And I got really real with that. And I started realizing Jesus has no opinion about my laundry. He only cares about me. And I started realizing, ladies, when you get to the end of EMH, this can be something you look forward to. I am loved with socks and underwear overflowing out my washer. I am loved fully and completely and upheld when dinner doesn't happen and we end up getting takeout at Wendy's. I am fully loved when I lose it on my 15-year-old son. And I might not be proud of that moment, but guess what? The fact that I recognize I'm not proud of it and I can rise to being a little more loving to myself, I realized Jesus loved me the whole time. The whole time. When my husband and I are more disconnected and things aren't going well there, I am fully loved and held by Jesus. I am not loved less because my kid spills the orange drink on the picnic thing. I am not less loved when my kid hits another kid. I am not less loved when I'm 40 pounds over a healthy BMI. Right? Can I get an amen on a Friday? This is the elevated mother mindset. And in the realm of your home, we are going to guide you. Ladies, we're going to guide you. This is going to be the way Jesus taught, line upon line. You're going to get a PDF workbook that is going to take you from the beginning. We are going to walk this path with you. We're going to hold you in perfect loving space because we've learned how to do it. And by the end of EMH, you're going to learn how to do it too. That is a program promise. If you show up to these workshops and you show up and you're there, it's going to be incredible. And it starts, we're having a kickoff party October 3rd, Kristen. Yes, Heather is there answering the questions in the chat because Heather's awesome. So these are some of the things that you can look forward to that have literally changed my life. And I want to make a note about family budgets. Some people say, how's this program going to change my money mindset? Missy and I can both testify. Heather and Megan can both testify. When you change you, how you do one thing is how you think about everything else. So when you start thinking different here, you will no longer make random compulsive purchases at the store out of a lack or, well, my neighbors are going to think I'm lame if I don't have this cute holiday display with mums and plastic pumpkins. And all of a sudden you go over your budget. If you like to do that thing, that's great. That's great. Do it. But when you start getting back to you, the decision will no longer be about the neighbors or about your mother-in-law or about your best friend. It will be because you genuinely love it. You genuinely love it. I just went to Hobby Lobby and bought a sign and put it on my porch, and then I looked directly across across the road and my neighbor has the exact same one. Old mindset would have said, oh. New mindset says, yep, because we're awesome. This is the new awesome, is to have the exact same sign on your porch, right? This is the elevated mindset that I'm just like, of course, because she's awesome and I'm awesome. Of course we picked the same one. Good for us. It's so fun. It is so fun and liberating. And I don't have to worry about taking the extra trip to the store to change out my sign. That changes your budget. You don't do things like this anymore. How you think about money will start to shift because you're doing stuff from a soul-led place instead of a world-led place. The way you think about how bills come, you're just like, oh, I knew that surgeon was going to do so good on my son. Here, take my money for all the years of schooling you did to not kill him during that surgery. Like, you just start thinking differently about things. So it's really exciting to do this program. It is so exciting because the way you feel about you totally affects the story you're writing about your whole home experience. And it can literally be changed in weeks. That's why we know this program does not have to be long. It doesn't have to be long. This is something you can learn, skill sets you can learn within just a few weeks. We've had some questions in the chat about, is this just for families of young kids versus families that have older kids or adult children? Missy, thoughts?
Oh, I'm always full of thoughts. Who is this for? This really, it could be for any woman, because yes, we're calling it elevated home. But when, like I said, when the woman changes herself, she changes her reality. She changes every space that she then walks into, right? And I love, actually, something about this community that I love so much is that we can have the mom, the brand new mom, and we can have the mother or woman whose kids are all grown, completely out of the house. And when that mother heals herself, whether her children are unborn, not even come yet, you're a newlywed, you don't have babies in your arms yet, or you're an old lady and your kids are visiting you in the nursing home, the love that a mother emanates from herself has the capacity to shift everything, right? So the home is wherever the mother is. The home is wherever the woman is. And so, yes, we want this to literally transform your home, but it's going to transform every space you walk into because you are you. You're going to walk into the grocery store differently. You're going to go to church differently. It's you. You take the home everywhere, right? So it really is for every woman to really come, because what we're doing is we're bringing you home to yourself, right? So elevated home is really elevated you, because it's the you inside you you're coming home to. And it is transformative. Like sometimes when I really sit and allow myself to like try to quantify, I mean, it's impossible, but try to quantify the effect of this. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. And I don't think as women, we'll never see. Maybe someday when we are with God again and we'll see the movie of our lives. I don't know how that's going to go, but maybe we'll have an elevated spiritual capacity for us to feel or see or really understand the gravity that our soul made on earth, the ripple effects, but like I've been sharing things with my sister, and my sister called me crying the other day, and she goes, "You'll never believe what you did." And I was like, "Oh no." What did I do? And she was like, "I have this friend, and here's her backstory. Lots of trauma, lots of marriage stuff, lots of this, lots of that." And she goes, she goes, I shared with her this much of what you shared with me. And her entire life shifted. And my sister started crying and she said, Missy, you have no idea. You have no idea the impact you just had. You don't even know her. And I'm not saying that to toot my horn. I'm not. This is the power of love that lives inside you. It is God's love. But Satan wants us to think that is not us. And so when you can turn that like all the way up, it's like Jesus saying, stop. He's smacking your hand off the love dial. Like, stop it. And then he goes, we're just going to turn it all the way up for you. And we're going to take everything, help you see all the things that you were doing to just like turn the dial back down. And when you can crank that all the way up, everything you do comes from that space. I mean, if y'all could have been on the call I did yesterday, I will scream this from the rooftops. Women are the most powerful creative force of love in the universe besides God himself. And we are God's love in a human body. And women are the literal, you're the portal, right? Like you bring babies from another realm through your body. I mean, let's just like sit with that idea for a second. Okay. Like you're so powerful and so incredible. And we're just over here like, no, I'm not. If you guys could see my sock bucket, literally like 300 mismatched socks in a bucket. And I dropped it in my living room the other day. My kids were like, it's raining socks. This is so fun. And I looked at it and I'm like, they're all going in the trash. I don't even know how many socks away. And then the next day, my teenager he was super mad because he had just bought new socks for himself. And he's like, I can't find any of my socks. And I'm over here going, that's interesting. And he goes, I have been living with mismatched socks for 3 years. And I was like, I literally died laughing. I was like, but old me would have been like, I am a horrible mother. My child wears mismatched socks. And new me is like, good for you. Like, and so it really, like, guys, we're not, the moms in this program are not any different from you. Like, and if you want me to prove that, I will show you my dishes. I will show you my messy, tiny laundry room. I will show you my kids' rooms. Like, the mess outside of you doesn't become something that controls you anymore because your love is turned so up that when your kid basically implies that you're a horrible mother because you let them wear mismatched socks for 3 years, you're just like, okay. Because you don't live in lack anymore. You live in love. And that force, which comes from God, has lived in you all along. And we're just bringing you home to it. And yes, 8 weeks can change your life. I am not the same person I was 2 years ago. Well, I am, but thank heavens, I do not have to wake up every morning feeling like there's an elephant on my chest. And like, I used to literally say out of my mouth, I don't want to be the mom today. And now we say it all the time in the program. Ready? You're the mom for the job, right? And I believe that so deeply in myself, everything changes. So come hang out with us.
Amen. One question I want to touch on that we've had in conversations is time. What if I can't make it to the calls? How much time will this take? Well, that's a question from a high-achieving mom that has linked productivity to her worth. Just going to say it. And it's legit. You have a lot going on. Your kids are in activities. You support your spouse. You're volunteering. Like whatever you're doing, we know you're doing a lot. Let me just re-emphasize. Any program you get in from the Elevate a Mother brand is created by real people. Real moms You might see us miss a call. In fact, we've already had this discussion among the leaders. They're like, well, I'm going to be out of town this day, and I'm going to be gone this day, and I need, like, welcome to the real world of people that transform people's lives alongside real life. This is really amazing. It's really an amazing space. So if you miss a call here and there, guess what? They're all recorded. Furthermore, if you miss a call here and there, just pop on to the next one. I guarantee you will be inspired, and whatever happens is right, because that's what happened. That's a mindset you're going to learn in our space. Whatever decision you make is the right one, because that's what you decided. In the time and in the moment, with everything you had at your disposal, you made that decision. Now, we are going to have 2 calls a week. We're going to initially say they're an hour. This is a beta program that may shift throughout, but it will be a group effort. You are very much going to be part of a collective. So your voice will matter. We're going to listen to you. If the calls are really hard for the majority of the group, we may switch things up. But be aware that we've done this multiple times before. We are very experienced in online coaching, what that looks like, how it feels to the mom. And you can message and say, I'm struggling, Robyn. I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with that. And I will hear you, and we will bring it to the team. And it will be very valuable to hear how you're taking in this information. But I do want to just say that if this program feels right for you in your gut and you're trusting it and you're going to go for it, then it's like anything. If your kid needs physical therapy after their elbow surgery, you put it on your calendar and you go. This might be the first time where you are going to get to put yourself on your phone, and it will be just as important as your kid's orthodontist appointment. You might be experiencing this for the first time, of putting yourself in your budget, putting yourself and being like, I'm just as important as my kid's cavity. I'm just as important as getting the car's oil changed right before our trip. I'm just as important as whatever else you have chosen to prioritize, where you're like, I got to get out the door. I got to do this thing. You're going to start, I'm putting myself on my schedule and I'm going to do this. I will not drop an EMH call because of a doctor's appointment. I'm going to keep that appointment with myself. It's going to be that life-changing. So whether you miss a call or not, we're not going to kick you out. You can watch the recording when you're doing dishes the next day, however it works. If you have to leave for a holiday thing, we get that. We're not going to be over here being like, oh man, that girl, she shouldn't have done this program. We don't even do that. Like, we give you ownership of your experience, whatever that's going to look like. But that's what the time will kind of look like. We will be recording every session. So you'll have the opportunity to have flexibility that way. Any other thoughts on the time piece, Missy?
Yeah, I think I was talking to someone in our program, our EMX program, the other week. I think she's on here. So, but she said to me something interesting, and she goes, I didn't realize how much progress I was making. And I think, oh, I'm not making progress, because that's what happens when you're working with the spirit, right? So we don't need a lot of time with you to make a massive impact. And you know, so it's like, and sometimes you're like, I don't know if I'm shifting. And then you come up in a real life situation and you're like, you look at it, you're like, wow, I didn't respond the way I responded, right? So we have this belief that it takes all of this focused time to make big, huge changes. And it just doesn't. It doesn't. Which is why we can sit here and say in 8 weeks, we know we can shift your entire home. Like, that's it. We know we can, because we see it every day in the programs that we teach. We see it in ourselves. So I know, like, I mean, my daughter just put my little kids on the bus. I'm literally coaching this call and I'm like looking out the window, like, did they make it? Right? But this is real life. This is real life. But your real life is worth it. Okay? It's worth saying, I am going to do this for me, because it will transform my whole life So I'm going to put myself on the calendar. And if you have to show up with a baby on your boob, or you know what I mean? Like, we don't care, right? If you have to show up on a call driving to pick up a puking kid at school, this is that God works in your minivan just as much as he works in church. Okay. So like, it doesn't matter. So throw out the belief that like you have to like sit down with us every single call and like stare at our faces for you to transform. No, because God works with the mess, in the mess, right? And it happens inside of you. So we do crazy all the time. One time, okay, we can end with this story. One time, Robyn got on a call and she didn't know her video was on right after she got out of the shower. Okay, and then she realized and she was like, oh, was my video on? And we're like, oh no, you're gonna have to go back and watch the replay to see. So listen, radical transformation happens in real life moments because God just needs your heart and the spirit to shift you. So that it doesn't matter if it's messy, and you don't need a perfect situation to transform. Wins happen in the mess. That's what Latia says. And when your life is still messy when the program's over, you're going to be like, oh, look, my life is amazing. And it's still going to be messy. And then we'll know that you have transformed.
And I love what Cherie just put in the chat. The shift begins when you invest. The day you make that decision and put in the payment, you will feel a difference. Heather McCafferty, yes. Anyone that's done EMX, the first day you put in that payment, you feel a shift that says, I just did that. I just did that for me. What a weird thing. You might feel scared. You might feel like an imposter. All the things. I believe it. The moment you decide and then put in that investment, the energy has shifted. There's no way that it hasn't. The energy has begun to change. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Next week, we are doing a Q&A on this, right? Next week is the day to have investments all in. Next Friday is when we would like to have all investments in, or if you're doing payments, your first payment is in. And we are going to be doing an open, like you guys can come on. What's that called? This is a live stream. It's called a live room in Circle. So you can come on and talk to us specifically about this, ask any questions. And always, though, you could be asking us questions. Don't wait till next week if you have questions. Like, ask all the time. Message us on Facebook. Message us here in Circle. Anything you have questions about. What will this be like? I'm afraid I'll be judged for this. We will tell you. We will help you. Any last words, Missy, before we go? Wrap up this call.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Missy. Thank you. Thank you. And everyone else that's on the team, it is so exciting to launch these little sub-programs that, as we've said, they change the world. Don't underestimate the power that you have that's always been there. And it's so powerful that Satan goes in and says, if you don't do it right, something big will happen. And I'm here to tell you, how much longer do you want to listen to that story? Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Like, I probably mispronounced the whole scripture, but that comes to my mind a lot. When these women come and they're like, I feel something, it's that light. But you're so afraid to fan it because you are so powerful and you don't know what it feels like to actually unleash it. Ladies, we're giving you the container. We're giving you the container that you will be contained. It's going to be okay. We're going to be there with you. letting your light fully shine, whatever that looks like, come hell or high water. We are going to be there to help you to sit in your awesomeness and start to grow it in a safe place to where it's going to become more natural, won't be foreign. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. If you want a friend to do it with you, send them this recording. They can listen and learn. But yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next Friday. Have a wonderful weekend.